Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. New Hampshire's colleges and universities are adapting to a new normal as they adjust campus life and academics to the hard realities of a pandemic. Joining us this morning to discuss how things are going at Plymouth State University is that institution's president, Dr. Donald Birks. Thanks for taking the time to be with us, Doctor.
Thank you, Adam. Good morning.
Good morning. And so you planned and worked over the summer to make this happen in a safe and sustainable way. As of last week, according to the state dashboard, just 3 active cases on campus. How would you say things are going now that your plans are in motion?
They're going really well. In fact, I think in some ways we're surprised at how well they're going. We did spend all summer. There were constant meetings with trustees. They asked us every question you could possibly think of. And then we had a tabletop exercise, which was interesting because everything they threw at us we had thought through before. So I think, given the number of cases we got and the behavior of the students, things are going about as well as anybody could ever ask for.
Doctor, take us through how your weekly testing regimen works. Is some of that testing in terms of the processing done on campus, or is that all sent away to labs? Just explain how that works.
Yeah, we've got a testing arrangement with Quest, and what we do is they come in and they take the test on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We have it by alphabetical order, and then the students and faculty run the test, and then we get them back usually a day, 2 days later, and so we have all the results. We just got the results from this week's testing segment on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we came out with no positives at all. So it was 3,200 tests and no positives.
Young people at college want to gather. It's almost instinctual. And you had to send an email out back in August warning against larger parties. Do you think that students will be able to change their behavior and maintain that through the entire rest of this pandemic?
I think they've done an amazing job, to be honest with you. I'm surprised at how well the students have really, I think, taken this to heart. And they've been very protective. They've been actually disclosing on each other when there's something that they see that we should be working on and attentive to. There have been really no parties to speak of. There have been small group gatherings, which I think what this time has given them a chance to do is get to know each other in a different type of environment. Parties are one way to get to know each other, but having small conversations with groups, I think, has made some closer relationships. So I think on the whole, they've adapted well to this change. Whether we can hold it out for the whole semester, that's another thing altogether, because I think it is tough. Students do naturally want to congregate together and be together. And the thing to do is, can we do it safely? And we're going to try to start relaxing some of our rules that are in place right now. As time goes on, they've done so well in keeping the case count down that we're interested in maybe seeing if we can be a little more flexible as we move forward.
And turning that question of personal responsibility around a bit, this had to be part of your discussions, I'm sure. Is it fair to bring students back to a campus and not expect them to create some kind of communal experience and sort of test those boundaries of how big a gathering can get?
Yeah. I think that's natural, and I think when we first started up, we had 2 large parties that occurred, one on what's called Secret Beach and another in a house, and we had to act pretty quickly and just make it clear at that point that this can't be the way we start off a semester. Otherwise, we're going to end up in situations like other universities have gotten themselves into. So after that, they have been great. So yeah, I worry sometimes because I feel like that's part of the college experience, but also I've been impressed with the relationships that have been built from the fact that students have been gathering in smaller groups and really getting to know each other. So in an age when everything is texting and communications that are sort of indirect rather than person to person, I think actually this has been positive in some ways that comparatively. I think it'll be great when the parties can come back as well. But I think this has been very interesting to watch. Probably be some studies about it, the way students have been behaving and getting to know each other. So I think that's a positive that's come out of it.
Right now, people can get outside, windows can stay open. What's going to happen when it gets colder and certainly when influenza starts to enter the picture?
Well, that worries us. And I think that's why we've been so tough up at the beginning, trying to make sure that we get our case count down to the lowest numbers we possibly can. So what we're trying to do now is when the weather's warm outside to really focus on, can we get the case count so that we're down to approximately 0? And it looks like we're pretty close to that with the latest results that we got back, so that when we start the times when we have to close the buildings, we'll be able to be in a situation where we'll know that the case count's very low. And what we're also doing is trying to maximize the amount of air exchange that we can have in the buildings so that we get situations. So low case count, maximum air exchange, good masking, so we're in good shape through that term. And what we're going to do also, because cold and flu is an important part of this, is we're working with mid-states here to do rapid tests so that we'll be able to try to differentiate between what's the flu and what's corona-like virus.
Beyond the cooling of the temperatures and, of course, the flu coming in, what are some chief concerns as the weeks continue here, at least for now, in a positive way?
Well, I think the issue comes down to is what's going to happen when the weather really does get cool. Right now, the seating arrangements for dining, which is really the time when students get to be in the closest communication without having masks on, that's where we really are concerned. And right now, they're dining outside, a lot of the students, and we have takeout orders and things like that. But I am concerned when we go to a situation where we're closed up, and how do we handle the arrangements for food delivery? And so we're working through that process right now. I think also, a lot of our windows are open all the time in residence halls, and students like to have that open feeling with the air exchange. So the question is going to be, what's it going to be like when we have to close things up? So we're working to keep the heat up so that even with the situation there, that we'll be able to have good air exchange. So that's what I think, and I guess over time, the desire and urge to get together and have parties in an enclosed environment rather than getting together outside, because we've got lots of communities of students outside now. But the question is, what's it going to be like when they're getting together inside? So those are sort of the issues we worry about.
I know safety has to be job number one and concern number one for you on campus. When do you have to start worrying, though, about the bottom line? This has to be costing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's costing a fortune, and we really appreciate the fact that the state has been supportive of higher education. I think the governor's done a tremendous job of trying to get resources to all the campuses to help support through this. But it's a very expensive proposition. I mean, financially, universities were already in a situation where funds were tight. So COVID, I mean, the expense is huge. Just for us, the semester will be $6.5 million to do the testing part of it alone. So you can imagine what the cost is on total. But I think with the support we've gotten and with some of the things we're doing to streamline, we had staff on furlough through much of the summer, that we're trying to work an arrangement so that we can stay sustainable through all this and still stay effective financially. So it's a challenge, huge challenge, but we really appreciate the support we've been getting.
And you have a unique advantage in that you were able to call another Dr. Birx down in Washington. How often do you get to connect with your sister, and what do you guys talk about?
We usually connect about every week or two, and it's interesting because she'll share some of the internal things that are going on and what her experiences are, the challenges she faces as she goes, particularly now she's gone across the campuses all across the United States. But I think where she's been particularly helpful is when we've been working through the summer and trying to figure out how we could best protect the university. I know I got in touch with her once and I said, really, can we pull this off? Because we can't do 6 feet distances in all the classrooms because we'd only be down to 25% occupancy. Is this possible? What can we do about this? And she would get back with us about what we could do. And I think it was encouraging because when we get into a decision point, it was very helpful to get some feedback on what she's seen out there and what she's done. I mean, she's worked with this virus situation with AIDS for years and has dealt with all the issues that come about with compliance and trying to work out ways. And in some ways, you could think of it as similar. It's not mask in that case, but it's sexual protective equipment. But here, in the case where we are, getting through this process, I think she's been a helpful advisor. I mean, it's really neat to be able to write to somebody and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of this concept? And get somebody to get back with you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing that experience. And thank you for sharing your experience up there at Plymouth State here on Close Up. We appreciate your time, Dr. Birx.
Thanks for inviting us.